Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. My name is Reverend Angie Hewitt Apt. I'm a registered Lilydale medium. And with me is Tom Cratsley. Tom is an exceptionally gifted healer, very true, counselor and teacher, who has devoted much of his career to exploring ways of healing from the spiritual heart. And I know that that's the workshop that you have coming up at fellowships. But talk about, like, what does that mean, the spiritual heart? I love that.
Everywhere in spiritual literature, this whole thing, there's a lot of talk about the heart, a lot of talk about love, and all of those. But in order to get to the genuine essence of love, it's a um, visceral experience. Let me put it that way. It's not a mental notion. So often when we talk about love, it's like this mental idea,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and you think about what that, the visuals of what that means and so on and so forth. But the true expression of love is way beyond that. It's something, it's an essential, um, let's say, component, if you will, of of um, of the nature of God and the universe.
hmm
And our access to that component
hmm
is not in the head, it's not in our thinking, it's in our presence with what I call the spiritual heart, which is actually located in the physical heart.
right.
So, in the workshop, we do practices to get people more comfortable with just being present with that and letting that speak to them in various ways, and also to let support their own healing, because it does. This ties into my notion of grace, which is tied into healing,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so, I had a useful. It was probably the best assignment I was ever given at divinity school. Was we were given a number of spiritual terms, and we had to pick five or six of them and actually work our own definition for them. Weren't going to copy from anything else. We're going to copy from any scripture or any other culture, etc. We had to go into our own experience. And what the definition I came up with for grace
I love
was
it.
that it's the power of love that renders all mistakes temporary.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
Say that again, Tom.
Grace is the power of love that renders all mistakes temporary. I certainly have seen it and experienced it personally, and most people in their own way have it to some degree. But this is what you see this described very, very eloquently in people's near-death experiences, where they come in contact with a being of awesome essential, with that essential quality of pure love, and they're able to be with everything they've ever done without judgment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everything gets clarified, everything gets recorrected so they can move ahead um, um, with a greater certainty, you know. And it takes place in an instant. That's astonishing.
Why? What will people get out of taking that workshop? Okay, the spiritual heart workshop.
Well, they get some significant experience at being present with their own spiritual heart and the power that that has,
Mhm.
and the opportunities that it affords in both growth and inspiration, but also in their own healing, because it has been that way for me. My healing. There's um, I can remember when I was first involved with teaching metaphysical processes and all that. This was back in the early '80s. I traveled around the country doing it, and then I got a spiritual download that said, "This is not your work. Your work's about the heart." And I'm thinking, well, I'm having a great time doing what I'm doing. Why would I do that?
Why switch? Why switch? Yeah.
Right? But I was at least sane enough to recognize, I need to honor whatever this is, and I need to begin to look into it and pursue it to some degree.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly glad I didn't dismiss it,
Yes.
because it's made a huge difference in my life,
Yeah.
to focus my awareness on that aspect of spiritual unfoldment and growth.
Well, because really it all kind of starts with the heart or the spiritual heart or love. And
Yeah,
that's the place that's going to really connect you to, the downloads or the magic or everything
yeah,
else we're talking about, right? So it's like they took you to the beginning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's two, and there was also one bit of wisdom I had gotten somewhere along the way. Again, this happened in the early '80s. It was passed on to me by a friend of a friend, if you. So I didn't get the author of it, but I did know that the author was one of the Indian gurus who was traveling around in the country at the time. But anyway, it was these two things, that there's two important reasons for us being human and living in a human body, experiencing the world as a human being. One is to learn how to love unconditionally in a body, and the second is to learn how to create responsibly.
Ooh, I love that. I love
It's
that.
profound, and
Yeah.
it's been my if you will, steering mechanism for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
Since I heard it, it's like it 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 really encompasses everything.
it does. It
Yeah,
does.
because
It's
you've got with creating responsibly is the entire law of karma,
yeah, yeah.
and then the most important thing is this, loving unconditionally. That is, understanding the depth of possibility of relationship when you're coming from the heart.
How do you love somebody unconditionally, say, that does something mean to you, or is it nice to you? Or
Love does not look at or relate to the activities that are uncomfortable for us or that are even injurious to us.
right.
It goes beyond to look at the core essence of that person, or to be present with it. And then also, what it also does is it gives you a perspective that allows you to simultaneously be safe. You can create safety for yourself while not being antagonistic to whatever the ugly behavior is of another that you don't particularly like. It allows you to accept who they are
Yeah.
without needing to destroy them.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Right,
like you said, being antagonistic, because
right,
that makes them worse. That's
yeah.
almost like you're kind of pushing the buttons, and that makes the whole thing worse and takes you far away from love.
Well, and the other thing that it does, here's what is interesting. The other thing that it sort of does in a strange way is it actually encourages the bad behavior,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you get locked into that frequency, you're supporting that frequency.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
100%.
just because you're his son. So when you're not locked into that frequency, when you're locked into the frequency of love, what it does is um it actually fundamentally supports the bad behavior to begin to kind of look more at the real truth of who they are.
Yeah.
It supports that. Um,
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
it may not be, yeah. You may not see the positive outcome of it immediately. It may take some time, but
yeah. Yeah.
and that's one of the difficult parts of doing sometimes spiritual healing, I think, is there's a tendency to want to fix rather than to just surround and infuse with healing energy, which
Mm,
is a very different process,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Even in a reading, that's what you want to do too, right? You don't want to tell them what to do, or try to fix them. You want to plant seeds. And I love thinking of it that way, is put love all around them. I'm going to use that in my teaching.